What's up, you fruit salad lovers? I'm Ryan. That's Zulfi. That's Spencer. If I
I like
were
fruit
in a
salad.
fighter, I'd be a fencer. This is the Fighting Words podcast, where that means nothing. We talked about my freestyle rap skills, so I had to put them on display early. This is the third episode of Fighting Words, just so I'm not stupid, right, guys?
Number 4.
Damn, we went to four real quick. That's
We
all
did.
right. My counting sucks, but my rap skills don't. Just kidding, they do too. This episode of Fighting Words, we are once again going to talk some nonsense, as you can already tell. Maybe you don't like fruit salad, and now you feel you do because I said so. We're going to talk. What are we going to talk about, guys? A little bit about this upcoming fight night that is Saturday, May 11th, because I don't know when this is going to go up exactly. We have a little fight night there. That's going to be a fun time. There's a little bit of interesting news, I guess, going on right now. I don't know why I said it like that. There was some little teasers released. There's I don't know. I guess actually not all that much in the world of news. Just kind of whatever pops into our noggins at the time. We're also gonna, I think, play a little fun game at some point during it. Maybe go through a couple weight classes and just give our picks as to who the next champ of that division could be. Just because you never know what champs are going to lose. There's a lot of champs that are pretty safe in their spots right now. You have to feel. And there are some where you don't even really know who the champ is. The heavyweight division. Where the hell is John Jones? What is he saying? Who knows? I guess we'll start on the card this Saturday briefly. The standout won the main event. Derek Lewis, Rodrigo Nascimento. I know we had a little brief discussion about it before, and I have to believe we are all on the same page about who we want and think is going to win, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Which
I think this is sorry. I think this is Derek Lewis's fight to lose. To be honest, like you guys mentioned, and I mentioned before, like Nascimento hasn't really fought the greatest competition in this division. A lot of the guys he has fought just aren't even in the UFC anymore. He's just like this is. I feel like this is just a way to kind of get everyone's appetite ready for the heavyweight division to really ramp things up. Hopefully throughout the summer and later into the year, because again, we were talking about it off the pod that like it's been a little stagnant so far this year for the heavyweight division. Not a lot has happened. There's just so much of this waiting game around what's John Jones going to do with Stipe, the injuries that have happened to delay things, and then like what's going on with Tom Aspinall. Again, the card at Manchester is coming up. You assume he's going to want to be on that. Is he going to be fighting Gane? What's going to happen? Is there even ever going to be like a unification thing? You have John Jones already tweeting that I'm probably going to retire after the Stipe fight because that was the plan all along, and everyone watching it is probably like, well, what the fuck? Like, why are we waiting this whole time for this potential thing with Tom that's maybe not even going to happen? So, like, at least something like this can remind you about like what makes the heavyweight division so much fun. It's exciting. It's massive brawlers. And even like another guy that I'm sure we'll have thoughts on, and I keep mentioning this, Rebellis de Spain. Like he's another maybe potential exciting up and comer in the heavyweight division. He has a really interesting fight. He's going to open up the main card, so he's finally getting that like attention and maybe he'll get some mainstream love from fight fans as well who haven't seen much of him. So I'm at least excited that this card is going to give people a reminder what the heavyweight division can be for the UFC when it's actually going.
I actually fully agree. And Spencer, I want to turn it to you for a second because I feel like you have an opinion on this. My thing with the John Jones and Stipe talk and the whole avoidance of that fight happening. Does anyone actually like really want to see that fight?
I don't. I can't speak for everyone, but I mean it's an okay fight, but I think the part where it loses everyone is that Stipe is just not Stipe anymore. I think he's 42 because that's the thing I keep seeing all the time. Stipe is 42. It's always underneath John Jones' Twitter posts. So I don't know. It's not like John Jones would win easily. I think everyone in their right mind would agree. Like, for example, this weekend, everyone thinks Derek Lewis should win this fight, but there is a path to victory for Nascimento. He trains an American top team. He's a really good grappler. So, like, he could win, right? Derek Lewis has proven he doesn't exist, all that. He has been in shape as well recently, so hopefully he can nullify the grappling and win. But if, for like, what I'm trying to say is John Jones, Stipe, there's literally no path to victory for Stipe, in my opinion, at all. I don't know why anyone would really cares about that fight. I think everyone wants to see just Tom Aspinall, who's the interim champ for a reason. He's fought actual people in the division versus John Jones. And I think that's probably the thought that we all resonate with.
See, that's why like I keep seeing these like Twitter things where it's like someone fixed the heavyweight, like someone fixed it already. The heavyweight division's like shit, and then John Jones is like, "Don't worry, guys, I'm trying to make this Stipe fight happen," and everyone's like, "I don't give a fuck."
John, that's not the answer. Like, stop it, John. You're putting the wrong answer to the test. No one wants
he's
that.
trying to play hero and villain at the same time, and he's somehow doing both wrong because he's pissing people off being the hero, and somehow him being a villain is like not being a villain. Like,
when is
just
the
shut
last
up.
time Stipe fought? Hasn't it been a couple of years or something?
I swear it was when Ngannou knocked him out.
Yeah, I
believe
swear
so.
it's like 2021 at this point. Or
Yeah,
I
and
got
Ngannou saw
clocked.
that, and he was like, "That's who's next."
yeah, and like his last win was like 2020. Like I get the idea of like a legacy fight, but like you have to have it's either one, like those guys are kind of still in it, like are in their primes more or less, and I guess you can argue that John Jones is, or they're like the division is just so bad that you kind of need something like that to again spark it with legacy. But you have people again like Tom Aspinall is the interim champ for a reason. He's fighting the top dudes and he's there and he's ready and it's waiting. And the fight with him and John just makes so much more sense because of that. You're just throwing the Stipe thing in there just cause. Like, I don't really know another good reason other than name value. And again, like you said, Ryan, not many people give a shit about that right now. It's not the answer.
No, I don't remember the last time I actually gave a shit about Stipe. And even John Jones going into that Cyril Gane fight, like it was kind of cool. And then about 30 seconds passed, and I was like, well, that wasn't cool anymore.
No, you got the quickest, most like soft looking, like submission, whatever I've ever seen. And I was like, what just happened? 30 seconds, and you have no idea what the hell happened in that fight.
No, and he just hopped on top of him. It was honestly like the weirdest looking submission I think I've ever seen in my life, too.
Neither guy looked like they had just been in a fight.
Yeah, but like I've never seen like a UFC fighter like straddle another fighter against the cage and just like torque and have the one tap.
That was a heavyweight submission for sure.
I know, like I want to see some stand up. I want to see Cyril Gane try to throw some kicks, land and stuff like that. No, he's just like pressed up against the fence like in a chicken formation.
Pressed by John Jones.
Quickly, because I heard Zulfi say the word quickest. This is going to move me on to my question that I said I'd maybe ask you before, but now I'm going to ask during the recording. Rebellis Despain versus Waldo. I'm not even going to give him his last name because Waldo is just too funny to me. The idea that his name is Waldo and he could get like knocked the hell out. I want you each, like, all respect to Waldo, assuming this goes one round. Give me your time prediction of how long this fight will last.
To the exact second?
Yep.
Okay.
God.
I will start.
Okay, yeah, please start.
Start us off. Set us a standard.
47 seconds.
I'm almost positive that's the combined time of all of his last fights.
Yeah, which is why it's just going to be this one.
Which is like, again, if you're going based on the history of his fights, you got to pick something under a minute. But that's still just insane to predict. Oh, man.
I would be surprised if Waldo throws a single strike in the first, 30 seconds.
Me too. But that's the thing. That's why I think it's going to last a little bit longer because I think Waldo is going to be a bit more defensively sound than some of his recent opponents and a lot more scared because now everyone's seen the UFC highlights. So I don't know. It feels like Zulfi actually nailed it perfectly. It feels weird to say anything above like a minute and a half, but it feels wrong to say anything below a minute just because like that's such a bold prediction. I'm gonna say a minute 47.
Yeah, I'm gonna hedge in between you guys, and I'm gonna go 101, just a minute and 1 second.
What I kind of love, because like we're mentioning even like the Waldo defensive approach. How does one prepare to fight Rebellis when there is a combined 47 seconds of footage?
I guess that's the thing. You try to make reads and then you don't.
And like
what do you do? His last fight was from the back foot. A guy actually kind of chased him down, thinking maybe that's the move. Got him moving backwards. Nope.
But even then, it was like the guy did it after Rebellis is just like unloading on him a little bit. Like he went up to Rebellis kind of went up first, he fell over, just kind of stumbling a little bit, and then he was kind of going on his back foot because he was trying to get up while this guy was coming towards him. It wasn't even like he was getting like really mauled. And then his last fight, like before he was in the UFC, he just sent somebody to the fucking shadow realm. Like, there's not really a lot to look at of Robelis being defensive or how can you counter his moves or anything. Like, you're right, Ryan. Like, I don't know how you really prepare for him other than knowing you're gonna have to probably like just defend yourself 99% of that fight.
Yeah, and like I feel like with most guys, like you kind of like tend to see what other guys have done that have slightly worked. Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Maybe like you just hop on UFC 4 and make Robelis in the game and then see what happens in the sim fight, but that's probably the best bet you can make because there's absolutely nothing else. Waldo, I wish you well. That's all.
This guy has like a bronze medalist in like the Olympics for Taekwondo. Robelis is, but like no one would fucking know, and it doesn't even matter so far because all this guy does is just get into the cage and just wail on you. You don't actually. At least again, it might be my ignorance, but like I haven't even seen as much of his technical skill that he probably has as a fighter. He just goes in and beats the shit out of people.
Yeah, and he flatlines. Sure. That's all he does. So we have 47 seconds, a minute and 1 second, and a minute and 47 seconds.
I feel wrong. Like I feel like he's gonna like land like most heavyweights can't even kick you in the head. This guy is a Taekwondo bronze medalist, like we said. So this guy can kick you in the head and not like if he lands a flush head kick, like he throws so much in it. The guy slipped last time he threw one. So like if he connects with one, like he connects with anything, I don't know.
He's also like fucking 6'8". He just has to like move like just like wave his leg a little bit and it hits somebody in the head. He doesn't even have to try to actually aim for the head. He's just that tall.
Yeah, the thing I love about these predictions, I love that these predictions, it is a 15-minute fight. And if the fight goes longer than half
it ain't no 15-minute fight.
If this makes it to the second round, Waldo has done something no one else has done in this world.
Honestly, man, he should get a standing applause or like a standing ovation from the crowd. Just like as the final bell goes, that would actually make the card a 10 out of 10 for me immediately if that happens. If the bell of the first round goes and just the whole crowd just gives Waldo like all the credit in the world.
It's like Waldo, you won. You get 3 extra points on the card.
And like Waldo walks back to his corner with like his hands up. He's like, "Yes."
What if the judges are like, "Waldo, we know you got beat the shit out of that first round, but since you survived, you win."
Dude, it's a 10-9 Waldo. It has to be a 10-9 Waldo.
Yeah, it's a 10-9 Waldo after that. Just because you made it to the second round.
That's when you know like they gave him that round. The judges are giving him a standing ovation.
As far as, I will say, knowing how Dana works, I'm surprised he didn't put that fight higher on the card, in my opinion. I know it's like a new rebellion. What?
Oh, wait, no, sorry.
No, it's the first main card fight, yeah.
Tapology, I hate how they put an ad right in the middle of the card now.
Yeah.
I hate them. Anyway. I was so shocked. I was like, this is the first fight of the night.
Yeah, I think you're right though. It's interesting because they are kind of easing him into it more. I guess this is only his second fight in the UFC, but like you do know he has the star potential. Yeah, exactly. I mean, give him to Bo Nickal. See what happens.
Please do. Please do. You know what?
I know you.
Waldo. If Waldo does something decent, give Bo Nickal Waldo and force Bo Nickal to fight up. Oh wait, get rid of him. I'm over him still. As far as other ones on this card, any that overly stand out to you guys? I guess Joaquin Buckley versus Nursultan Roziboev is probably kind of exciting because it's a weird matchup of fighters. Right?
Yeah, actually, first of all, your mic cut a little bit of there again, but we're gonna just tell everyone to deal with it.
I don't know why.
Not to be a tech nerd, but if that cable on your mic is a little loose and you're moving your mic around a lot, that could be it. But I could also just be making that up.
Yeah, because it almost sounds like it gets unplugged for a sec.
Okay, while he deals with that, give us your thoughts about that fight, Spencer.
I think the whole main card is really, really good. Yeah, the co-main event's awesome. Buckley obviously is just always so much fun to fight. He's just ripped. He has like some of the best KOs of all time. Well, one of the best KOs of all time, and then some other just vicious KOs. And then if you look down the card, I just want to shout out. I'm gonna butcher his name so hard because he's Polish, but Matusz. I know that's how you say the first name. And then Rebecca. I'm just gonna say Rebecca. I know that there's that accent means something, and I've watched him fight, so I should remember how they pronounce it. But I honestly, Polish names, you got me. I'm usually pretty good, but I think this guy is an absolute just tank. Like he is just. If you talk about brick shithouses, this is your guy. Like he is so much fun to watch. And if you look at like his resume, he only has one UFC fight. No, he doesn't. He has 3 UFC fights. I've only seen his one UFC fight, which he absolutely dismantled Roosevelt Roberts. I know I'm a fraud. I also saw his Contender Series fight. But if you look at his fights outside the UFC, even like this guy's just an absolute world beater, and he is fighting Diego Ferreira, who has fought a lot of really good people. So if this guy wins, Matoush, we'll call him. If he wins this weekend, he could have a really good fight next. So I want to shout him out.
I have a feeling if he gets a win this weekend, he probably has himself lined up for like a number 15, or at least a fight to like get into the top 15. That kind of idea, but
yeah, because Ferrer was ranked forever, but he's not ranked anymore. So yeah, I think you're right.
One fighter, I'm like, and emphasis on I'm using fighter, not fight. One fighter I'm excited to see again is Sean Woodson, because that guy's build still makes no sense to me, and I just need to see it again live in action just to see that I wasn't mistaken last time. He's a daddy long legs, man. Like he doesn't make sense. His legs, if he's like 6'2", his legs are 5'8". Like there's nothing else to it. It makes no sense to me. His arm to torso ratio is weird. He wears his shorts real high, and I think that's because he has a small torso. The thing is, he's fighting Bruce Leroy. So that's why I didn't mention
it's still fun though.
Because but like I kind of want Bruce Leroy to win.
Oh, okay. Okay, I respect that because he is sick. He's not like the most amazing fighter, but he's so much fun to watch.
No, 21-14 record is like weirdly funny to me for someone named Bruce Leroy. I don't know why.
Been in the UFC for a long time.
Yeah, he's 16-12 in the UFC.
Yeah.
That's nuts, dude. Honestly, put him in the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame nickname category. That's what they need to create.
Well, I like when they do these cards not at Apex, because then they make the main events like actually like have good depth, and the cards alone, like Terrence McKinney's on the prelims, and there's some other good fights, and like Chase Hooper's on the prelims. So they make these cards have some good depth. So I love when they get away from the Apex and they actually have some fans to please live, because then they actually give a little bit of a shit. So this card should be fun.
Dude, I love Chase Hooper. I'm not gonna lie. I like
he's a lot of fun too.
For whatever reason, like every time I see Chase Hooper fight, I like want him to land an overhand from hell so badly, even though I know it's not possible. Like there's no way.
Never say never.
I think I'm gonna say never. But it's just
what if he comes just out ripped?
Wait, who?
What if Chase Hooper just comes out? He's like 20, 25 now. That's a guess. I don't know. He's somewhere around there. His mid-20s.
Yeah.
What if he just comes out physically like just ripped and just looks like an absolutely different person?
I'm going to assume that won't happen. But, maybe it can. And I think he's fighting, I think Vyacheslav Borshev also fights out of Canada, right?
Oh, does he?
I want to say he like trains. Maybe I'm wrong.
Are you confusing him for the guy that we saw live that has a similar name?
Oh, no. It's because never mind. He trains with Mike Malott at Team Alpha Male, but he is Russian. I was thinking of Misha Serkinov, I think.
Misha Serkinov, yes.
Something like that.
Right.
No, but this guy trains out of Team Alpha Male, and I like Team Alpha Male, so I don't really care who wins. But Chase Hooper, if you want to throw an overhand from hell, don't take our advice because we'll feel bad, but it would be funny. We'll move on quickly to this little game idea we had. Part of me wants to start like with this whole who's going to be the next champ thing. I kind of want to start in flyweight just because of the last main event, but I feel like all 3 of our answers will be different and we'll have no reasoning.
You're probably right.
At least for me, you'll be very correct.
You guys want to pick a name?
I can pick one that has a reason that's a little bit out of left field.
Oh, out of left. All right, you're up next, I guess.
Well, I feel like someone else is gonna pick Mokaev, so I'm gonna leave him. Albazi is also a good choice, but I'm also gonna leave him. I'm gonna go all the way down to just assuming I don't know Pantoja beats both those guys. I'm just gonna go down and pick Tatsuro Tara just because he's fighting soon too. He's fighting Joshua Van, who's also like a crazy good prospect. So I don't know why the UFC puts up like two guys that are like 23 that are really good prospects against each other, but should be a lot of fun. But he is really, really good. His stand-ups come a long way. I always like watching him when he fights because I love a good grappler that isn't boring. I think everyone knows what I mean when I say that. There's exciting grappling and then there's boring grappling, and he's an exciting grappler, so I love watching him a lot. And he's in his early 20s, and I don't know if Pantoja just keeps defending against some of these upper echelon guys. You never know. Maybe Tara could climb up pretty quickly.
My problem with it, like with this division, is I think like Pantoja doesn't really win fights like super convincingly. So technically anyone can beat him.
Yeah, you're right, for sure.
It feels like we're just guessing what Sean Shelby's going to do next because the next fight could be it. But then it could be like 4 fights from now. We have no idea. I am going to pick, also to the lower end, Tagir Ulanbekov.
Okay.
That's going to be my pick. Only for the reason that seeing how Steve Ursig got a title shot, Tagir is fighting Alex Perez soon, who's at number 5. I think Tagir can probably get a submission win because he's just that kind of Russian. I'm going to predict that he gets a submission win, and then the UFC is like, screw it. Here's Pantoja, and then we'll just see what happens. He's 4-1 in the UFC, so if it makes him 5-1, I mean, with a win over number 5, they gave Ursig a title shot from number 10 for just knocking out Matt Schnell, which a lot of people have done. So
I think everyone in the division has done that.
Yeah,
it's a rite of passage at this point.
Yeah. Oh, you did it. Good job. Here's title. Like, okay, thanks. What are you in there?
No, it's a good show. I'm not expecting you to say, but it has more probability than mine.
No, Tatsuro's really good. That one's just hoping that Pantoja will be champ for a while. But I'm expecting Pantoja. Who will they give Pantoja next? Like Royval?
No, I'm thinking the winner of Cape and Mokaev. That's what I'm thinking.
Probably.
Albazi also was right there, but then he dropped out of a fight, which the UFC pretty much always punishes by giving you a lower ranked opponent after. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to fight Moreno.
Do you have a prediction that could be the obvious one?
I mean, no, because like you're right. Like the top of the division is just all guys that Pantoja's already gone through, and he's just like showed that he can beat them repeatedly. To be quite honest, at times. But honestly, like I'm gonna go with a name, and this might be a cop out in some ways, but I do think that this dude can be a champion in the future. It's a guy that just lost, Steve Ursig. I'm impressed with him as a fighter. I think he technically has the skills for it, but he's just like you said, Ryan. Like he just got into UFC, had like 3 fights, and they're like, "Here's a champion." Let's go. And like obviously you're gonna take that opportunity and you're up for it. But like even that fight, I feel like watching it, you could see him visibly kind of learning a little bit throughout it. And there's just that big reversal in I think it was the 5th round that really might have cost him in that fight more than he realized. So I think he was there. He was right then, like you said, Ryan. Like Pantoja keeps these fights way closer than he needs to, and they end up like so far it hasn't cost him, and maybe it will in the future. I'm kind of banking on the fact that Pantoja is going to be a champ for a while, and then Ursig can work his way back up. But I think this guy has shown the raw potential and talent to be competitive in this division. And now he just needs to start like getting that veteran experience, learning a bit from those mistakes. And I think, again, he has all the talent in the world to make it happen. So at least like maybe not next, but I do see him being a guy who can have a title around his belt in the future.
Okay. I'm glad you actually brought up Ursig. Sorry. I just want to say, I have to mention this because it's absolute blasphemy. The fact that he's still ranked below Nicolau, who just got knocked out by Alex Perez, is just crazy. Like, the rankings in UFC make absolutely no sense. And
I don't know how. I'm pretty sure he fought Pantoja at number 10, didn't he? And then he lost division, and they just put him to number 9. Like,
here you go. Jump Tim Elliott.
Yeah, like thanks for that. Like, really glad I I will say because we didn't really talk about that last card much. The lead up and stuff to it, just like Twitter wise and social media wise, I was actually a really big fan of because the amount of like Steve Ursig things I saw where like people put him in like a Best Buy employee uniform and like just all that kind of stuff, I thought was absolutely hilarious. And then he shows up to like the press conference in Brazil in like Pantoja's favorite like soccer team's rivals jersey and is just like smiling. I was like, that's fantastic. Like he's just playing like such a weird game, but it's working.
And he's just like, he has the funniest, like quirkiest looking personality. Like the first time I heard his voice, I couldn't help but giggle a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Steve Ursig just has this funny, like really nice boy like voice, and you're just like, oh, you're a sweet guy. And then you just see a video of him beating the shit out of someone and just knocking them into like again the shadow realm, and you're like, oh, okay, you're kind of scary, but I like it.
He's so good. If he wins the belt, I think he'll go down as the least threatening champion of all time. As far as like judging a book by its cover, there is nothing to him. Like,
but that makes him more impressive to me, to be quite honest.
Oh, 100%. Like even it would obviously be a flyweight guy, but like even Pantoja, like he has that little like Brazilian with like some tats and like decently jacked, that kind of thing. Like still not a guy I would mess with.
Yeah, if you're Brazilian, you're intimidating. I'm sorry. At this point, with all the history we have with the UFC, if you're Brazilian, I'm a little scared of you in terms of a fight.
So facts. Dude, if there was like a civil war between Team Brazil and Team Dagestan, I would get a bunker somewhere and just hide.
Yeah, you just stay out of the way.
I don't want to know what the hell is going to
happen. Americans are going to be like, hey, guys, we can fight you. Shut the fuck up and sit in the corner. You're not part of this.
Yeah, like on the front line, like Jamal Hill. Yeah, sit down, buddy. Take out.
Aljo, maybe.
Aljo? What's he gonna do?
Do we want to talk about his last fight again for you to rephrase that?
Yeah, like what? Oh no. Oh gosh, guys, Aljo's on top of me. He's been here for 15 minutes. Can someone come shoot him? Done.
Oh god.
How's he gonna do?
I'm glad you heard that.
He's the guy that's gonna try to kill someone by boredom. Fuck. Do you guys have a division that you wanna predict on next?
You want to go in order? Or you just want to go random? Just everyone pick one.
Just go random. I feel like in order there's too many. I thought we'd just kind of touch on some that have maybe been.
All right, well, Zulfi, pick one. Putting you on the spot.
Well, I'll go to featherweight just because again, the way I'm seeing it, like there's names that you obviously know are probably going to be the mix again. Like again, like you don't know what's going on with Volk. Max has obviously just made this huge jump, and he's gonna want to fight for a title. I'm assuming again, like a different title in the BMF belt. And there's fun names. There's obviously Ryan's favorite Aljo. Let's see what he does. But a name that I think we've talked about before too, a name we've talked about before too, and that I like. And again, I'm gonna be going with more dart throws here because people may not know, but you two are way more knowledgeable when it comes to these guys and their names, and I'd like to hear from you and what your favorites are. So I'm gonna go with just more fun answers. Diego Lopez. I think he's a guy who can be a champion in the future. He has just brick hands. He is fun to watch. He's an exciting fighter, and he's like working his way up. And I think at a good pace. I genuinely don't feel like it's one of those things where he's just like one fight into stardom. He's kind of like really working his way towards this, and I think that's better for him. So I think Diego Lopez is a guy in the future that I can see as a champion. He's been impressive in just about every fight that I have seen. So I think he's a guy who has the makings of a champion in the future. I don't know what you guys think.
I would agree.
I'm a massive Diego Lopez fan. Like I have full bias going into this, and I'm going to say hell to the motherfucking yeah, dude. That guy's a champ.
There's a lot of fights in this division, or like fighters above him that you can like see like he matches up pretty well with. He can like give a good fight out of, and again like not to just keep bagging on the guy, but if I put Diego Lopez against Aljamain Sterling, I think we all like know what's happening there.
Don't do that. I don't want it. Round one's going to start, and then I'm just going to shoot, and I'm going to shit myself. I don't want that to happen. You know what? Sorry to kind of cut off your answer because I do agree with Diego Lopez. You know what the problem is with that division, and I think it's going to happen eventually?
What?
I think Aljamain Sterling, like not an entirely one, but I think he's going to become somewhat of a gatekeeper. And it's just going to make it so that anyone that doesn't know how to grapple and wrestle is just not going to get that high. And I don't want it to happen. Because it's just going to become a thing where it's like, oh, like Aljo is number 5. This is a guy trying to break into the top 5. It's going to be like a 15-minute fight. And there's going to be like 12 minutes of control time between like both guys. And it's going to be a guy like Diego Lopez that, like you said, has like the fists of the gods. He's just not going to be able to do anything because Aljo's just going to lay on top of him and ask him what he had for breakfast that morning.
Oh, that's
Aljo
not what
slander.
happens. Because that'd be kind of shit too. Because like a lot of the guys at the top of the division, like again, many of them are pretty technical, but like a guy like Max Holloway likes to stand up. Volk obviously can do it. Taporia likes to stand up and fight too. So like having a gatekeeper who just does the opposite would really fucking suck. So I totally get what you mean, and I could see that happening. But at least like I would hope that if they have a kind of gatekeeper type of fighter, like it's someone that matches similar to what you see at the top of the division. But who knows?
Yeah, you need an all-around guy. I think the goal, like even like middleweight, when like Derek Brunson was around to be a gatekeeper, like that's just an all-around fighter, so it kind of worked in itself. I think when they make like a wrestling guy, it just makes it super fucking lame. But then you can't have it as like an all-out like puncher. Like Calvin Kattar also can't really be a gatekeeper because like that guy's a boxer. What else would you do? Spencer, do you want to give your answer or mine? Because I just already know exactly who mine's going to be. No questions asked in the world.
Well, first of all, I want to say Diego Lopez absolutely smokes Aljamain Sterling, so you don't have to worry about that. Got to believe in jiu-jitsu.
I'm gonna worry. I'm scared.
This is a really hard division because honestly, you scroll down the rankings, and like there's not that many people I see that can beat Taporia, and then like you see like someone like Diego Lopez, and it's like, oh, Diego Lopez can probably beat all these guys except for maybe the top two. And then you keep scrolling because you want to, act smart and be like, oh, who else down here can win it? Absolutely nobody. Like, just there's nobody.
I have my answer.
I'm torn between two guys. They're both pretty obvious choices. If you have to pick somebody, I'm gonna say Max Holloway. Why not? I'm gonna give him his flowers after. Is that your answer, Ryan?
Yeah, it's my answer.
I thought you were for sure saying Diego Lopez.
No, I was going to say Max Holloway, and I was going to say it a lot more excitedly than you.
All right, I'm not choosing Max Holloway anymore. That guy's a bum.
Oh, don't do that now.
No, because I legit have two answers. So
give the other one.
Like, why not? That's
seems illegitimate.
No, because I was actually the only reason I was going to do Max Holloway is to give him some flowers for 300. But my actual answer is probably Evloev. Just because I know, Ryan, I know I don't want him to win, but if I'm seeing anyone here that might be like, I know Taporia's so good, man. I don't think Evloev can actually beat him. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't think I have an answer, boys.
My answer.
I don't think anyone beats him except for maybe Diego Lopez in a few years. Like,
my problem with Evloev is I'm hoping you'll understand what I mean by this. I think he should change his fighter name to Movsar Remember the Name Evloev, because him and Bilal Muhammad can both kiss my ass, as they are both boring decision merchants.
Well, also what people also don't seem to realize is Taporia is a grappler first. Like, his jiu-jitsu is absolutely insane. So,
which
I don't
is
know.
why
Evloev even beat him.
The next champion is going to be Max Holloway when Ilia Taporia eventually accepts that that's his next opponent.
Do you think he's going to? He doesn't seem to be too willing so far.
Because he's scared. He saw Gaethje in the Shadow Realm when he was on a stroll one day, and Gaethje said, "Don't do it, bro." And now he's scared. No, he's not. Taporia's not scared in the slightest, but fighting Max Holloway now on probably the biggest high of his career, I'm still going to go, like, I don't think like, everyone's like, oh, Holloway's absorbed the most strikes in, like, UFC history. He's also been, A, around forever, and B, most importantly, never been knocked down.
Yeah.
What does that, like, if Holloway was even, like, a year and a half off of, like, getting knocked out or something like that, I'd be like, yeah, don't give him Taporia, because, who knows? He's on the biggest high of his career. Volk, I know the shot was clean that finished Volk. Volk was also, like, how many months off of getting his head kicked off by Islam? I do think those kind of things add up. I'm aware Taporia has, like, insane strength in his hands. I think Holloway is a matchup he doesn't want. I think, like, I genuinely think Max Holloway is the better boxer. I just think Taporia maybe has a bit of a power advantage, but we've seen that happen so many times where sometimes just the better technical boxer wins. Like the grappling is, I think, where Topuria would go. I tend to trust Max when it comes to kind of like the takedown defense and stuff. I actually think Max could easily be the one to dethrone him. And I find it hilarious that Topuria is like seeing what Max just did to Gaethje, and he's like, I don't know, man. Ortega just beat Yair. I'm like, okay. I'm like, come on here. What are we doing?
I think the thing with Topuria and that, like what you're saying, Ryan, like momentum is so important for these fighters, and in the UFC, like both like, in the opposite end of like you said, Volk coming off a knockout or like a bad performance against Islam versus what Max is doing, and those type of momentum shifts matter. And for Topuria, he's like, if I'm defending this thing for the first time, like, do I really want to go up against literally the baddest motherfucker in the entire UFC, or do I want something where it kind of like eases into it and I get a chance to defend my title and have it for at least one more time? Like, again, if you're a Topuria, you're probably confident you can take on a Max Holloway, but it's also Max freaking Holloway. Like, you just don't know what can happen there. You know, he's been in just so long in the UFC. He's so experienced. He's just like fighting a Savin veteran like type guy is already like daunting in its own way, especially when you're defending for like the first time. But then doing that against a guy who's, again, like you said, on the high of his life right now, after sending somebody literally to the depths of hell, like that is a terrifying thing to consider. So I don't know. Like, I'm with you. I think Max Holloway makes tons of sense for him, but I see why Topuria is probably like, yeah, let's go baby steps. Let's see if Max can do it one more time.
Yeah, I don't mind Topuria's approach, because I do think he's also in the situation where, like, let's be honest, like Topuria is milking the hell out of this title reign that he has right
100%.
now. He's like going everywhere in Spain, like meeting.
He's a Spanish hero right now.
Just like, yeah, he's going to every event possible. I mean, Real Madrid are in the Champions League final right now. Like, he'll probably go to that with his title and just like be on the field after or something if they win. He's gonna try to do everything possible with it, which I understand. But some part of me is like, oh, so like maybe he doesn't know if he's gonna be around with that title that long, like that kind of idea. I think the smart thing for him would be to take a title defense against a guy like Ortega first, but fuck that personally. Just fight Max, dude.
Could be a lot more.
Could easily beat him. Max has got the range too. Like, bad matchup.
Yeah, has the range. Topuria's also, correct me if I'm wrong, Topuria's never really been like sent into the trenches against anyone, has he?
No, he's pretty much smoked everyone. I think he's finished everyone but Yusuf Zalal, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, so like
in his debut.
Yeah, debut, whatever. He fought like his road kind of has always pissed me off. I got to be honest. Because he fought like Ryan Hall, who was just doing somersaults at his legs the whole time.
That was crazy.
Which, like, it works, I guess, but it wasn't working, and Topuria just hammer-fisted his face in.
It doesn't work.
Who was the really nasty knockout on?
Damon Jackson or Jai Herbert. There's two of them.
Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert really didn't get too much going against Topuria. Landed a few decent shots, but like Topuria's never been bloodied. He's never been like in a situation where he hasn't been on like the front foot, from what I know.
Well, Jai Herbert did knock him down actually with a head kick.
Oh, you're right. He did.
It was at 155, so Jai Herbert was way longer, kind of like Holloway is. Holloway doesn't kick you in the head, but
yeah,
he was having problems with the range at first.
Yeah, actually, okay, I forgot about that knockdown. But even still, like,
he just grabbed his legs right away and took him down. So
yeah, and like I wish that one went a little longer too, because there was the idea of the trenches there. But like, there hasn't been like a 3-round like slobber knocker that Topuria's been in, and that kind of bothers me for a chance. But
was Josh Emmett? Josh Emmett was the fight right before Volkanovski, right, for the title?
Yeah, and like he just beat the shit out of Josh Emmett.
Yeah, which is again like,
and it's Josh Emmett. It's a guy.
Yeah,
I love Josh Emmett, but somewhat of a one-trick pony. But should we do one more division real quick?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, is there one somebody's passionate about or thinks they have a good answer for?
Not really a good answer, but more so because I'm like semi-intrigued on it. Welterweight.
That's actually what I was going to say too, because it's very, very interesting.
I just don't know who there even is to like give it a shot right now.
Well, there's one
MVP. Just put him up there.
and there's also Rachmanov, which
Yeah, which is probably
That's definitely the
everyone's
more
answer.
appropriate answer.
Yeah.
But call me crazy. I'm a big Rachmanov fan. I don't think the first time they fight, I don't think he beats Leon Edwards. I think Leon Edwards is like the worst matchup possible for him.
He's
Why
a
is that?
weird fighter for anyone.
Because his takedown defense is so good, and like
And he has like the
Rachmanov
trench
struggled.
experience.
Yeah, and Rachmanov struggled a little bit with Jeff Neal, who is like kind of a similar style to Leon Edwards, just not nearly as good because he couldn't take him down.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
know. That's what worries me about that one.
The thing with like welterweight is it's just a division of guys that have been around a really long time and like kind of hard to convince you that they can do it. Or it's like a couple like Ian Gary, not gonna do it. I'm already kind of over that guy as far as like the whole push goes. Like, I don't know, get him to fight Colby, I guess. That'd be kind of fun, but from there, I don't really know. Like Bilal Muhammad, like no one's gonna guess him because why would
Even if you think he's gonna win, you're not saying it.
Yeah. If you think he's gonna win, you better spend or give yourself a good 30 minutes of your time. At least have 4 beers open at the same time present. Like I like that also. I like that on the UFC like app. Kamaru Usman is still the #1 contender. It kind of shows where the division's at.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like
They're like, we
Yeah.
can't put Bilal at #1. We don't want to do that.
God, no. No one remembers your name.
There's like,
Asshole.
Yeah,
there's a lot of, I don't want to say fun, but like interesting names. I'd say in the top
Yeah.
15. But you guys are right. Like, who really excites you to the point where you're like, oh, this guy can make that jump? Again, I said MVP for fun, but he just like is the biggest wild card. I think just he has a history as a fighter. He just came to UFC, had a pretty impressive win. So you're like, fuck it, maybe he could do something to make it happen. But like even then, that's not a realistic or practical answer.
Yeah.
honestly, Zulfi, I think it's probably like the third most practical answer in the division, though. Like a lot of these guys are just so washed, man.
But the thing is, MVP's getting old though.
That's the
He
thing. Like,
is. He is. That's true.
Like,
but like you're also like again, Spencer, like to your point, like so all these other guys, like if they've already had their chance and they haven't really done much with it, then like he at least to that degree, like he hasn't really had the opportunity yet in the UFC at least.
yeah.
Yeah. JDM's a decent answer because he's just too young and a lot of fun. Has a good fighting style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like I feel like his fighting style is one that Leon Edwards would like expose.
Same. Like Leon Edwards is such a bad matchup for so many different fighters.
I don't know, my
The
answer
MVP
is Shavkat. It just has to be Shavkat. Like I don't
MVP
know.
Leon could be a huge fight in England too if they ever. So
True.
MVP could like jump a lot of people if they wanted to line up a huge England main event, like next year, let's say. Next summer they need a Manchester main event. MVP Leon, you never know.
Do you think Islam could be a valid answer at all?
Yeah, of course. Islam's so good. They can't take that away. So if he
Yeah.
and he's also just super big. So
Well, yeah, because like if Islam beats like Sarukian again or something like that, do you just give him the welterweight fight just to like see what happens?
I hope
I think
not.
it. Yeah, I think it'll just depend on like how that fight would go, and if it's like pretty much how everything else has gone in terms of an Islam fight, maybe Dana and the UFC are just like, we just got to do something to make this a bit more interesting or exciting because like you guys said, like in the lightweight division, there's not really much going on there in terms of like where you're really worried about him. So if this next fight goes exactly how it's gone, then they're like, okay, maybe we gotta do something because again, you have a champion who's this fantastic fighter and everyone knows it, but like really, what's exciting around him right now? You want to drive something, right?
Thing
Yeah.
is, I don't even know if Islam's like the type of guy that would want to go up. He seems more happy just like welcoming the people from below. He's like,
beat the
oh,
shit out of all of
yeah, come here. Jeez.
You meet me.
Yeah, come here.
Here's a question for you guys. Sorry, how many title defense do you think you should have before you like move up? 3?
3.
I was gonna say 5, but maybe that's too much.
5?
Maybe 3 is good.
I'm probably closer to 5 myself.
I
I
think-
think 3 I could see in certain circumstances, like you're talking about. Maybe Islam does just no good fights.
Yeah, and again, I feel like it's like it depends on like how the fights go. Again, like a Pantoja, you're probably like, nah, you keep doing this for a little bit, like until like you really feel like you solidified yourself. Like you said, Spencer, like interesting fights that were kind of close, but like if it's 3, like Islam just washing the competition, then it's like okay, fuck it, just do something else. Or like again, Pereira, like if he just completely keeps dominating this division, like, okay, let's see something again. Let's see him change it up again.
My thing with like 3 is, I mean, I guess I get that would be like over like a very long span of time, so like it would change around a lot. But I think if you can beat the best 3 guys in your division all at like different times, like assuming that each one is gonna be like the number 1 contender, like when you fight them, like what are numbers 4 and 5 gonna do that you maybe haven't seen? I think the when it gets up to like 4 or something for me is when there's like for example, we talked about earlier, like a case like Tatsuro Taira, that's like he's still kind of on like the slow ladder up. So maybe he could be there after the 3rd, and that's like a clear 4th, assuming he's like 19-0 or 18-0, something like that. But
Yeah.
I think 3 is the minimum until you're allowed to look up.
Fair. I think like 3 is a
Fair enough.
minimum, and then 5 is like a usual kind of like bar. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it takes so long too for them to like arrange these fights that are like division versus division. That like once you get to like 3 title defenses down, that still probably means that you're gonna have like one more before you get the champ fight. So I don't know.
True.
3 kind of works for me, but should we end it there, boys?
Yeah, we can do what 3 divisions an episode for a little bit. Have a little.
Yeah. Tease him a little bit.
We should.
Yeah. I mean, the heavyweight division hopefully will get more interesting after this weekend's card, and then maybe there's some names to talk about in that.
The heavyweight one we may have to wait a little while on because John Jones, please just shut up. Oh, right, am I right?
What's the next pay-per-view? Is it Islam? Is it Islam Dustin? Is that the next pay-per-view?
302. So
Yeah.
yes, I think.
Then 303 is the McGregor.
The Connor Chandler. Okay. Yeah, so 302 is next.
Okay, so we can probably do lightweight next, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah. That's
Yeah. What happens there, I guess. But until then, God, I love a good fruit salad. This has been episode 4 of Fighting Words MMA. Spencer and Zulfi, start with Spencer. Give them your ats and your tags and your handles and your, I don't know.
Well, my at is Spencer_Closs. It should be just below all our videos for YouTube, but for the Apple and Spotify listeners, Closs is CLOSS. Follow me there. I love tweeting MMA, and I was tweeting hockey, but you know what happened, so I won't say more on that.
Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go!
I don't want to interrupt, but Sheldon Keefe, I'm sorry, like, good. I'm so happy for the guy. Did you see that video? He's out in like some cottage in Muskoka or wherever, just living life, and he's getting paid for 2 years. He's getting paid millions of dollars for 2 years to take a vacation and find his next job. That's pretty freaking sweet.
Not a bad life. Not a bad life.
Zulfi.
Okay, to follow that up, shout out Sheldon Keefe, I guess. At Zulfi_Sheikh, ZULFI_SHEIKH. That's on Instagram. That's on Twitter /X. Yeah, if you like basketball, I'll talk a lot about that too. But I will be recapping this weekend's card for Sportsnet, so be on the lookout for that after those fights end.
He's got some CEBL stuff coming soon too. Keep an eye on Canadian basketball. Go crazy.
Toronto's getting a WNBA team too. Woo.
Oh yeah, big news. That's actually really big news. Unfortunately, this is a fighting podcast, but I would love to talk about that more separately some other time. I don't know how this is going to show up video wise, but my at is not Biscuit Boo Boo 69. It is actually at Ryan Galati 1, I think, on Twitter /X. I don't actually know. I'm pretty sure there's a 1 at the end of there. If not, you'll find me. I think my profile picture is like me holding a chair or something like that. I look real cute. Unless you don't think so, that's fine. Apart from that, you Giuseppe's, Nancy's, Alfredo's, and Carla's. This has been Fighting Words MMA number 4. We will catch you on the flip side, because that's not a cliche. Peace out, mother. Sorry. That's all.
Okay.
I want to like